my God, you're so mean. Shut up and read your thing.
Hey, all of you out there in Eorzea, welcome to She Heals, I Tank, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. Today is Friday, February 7th, and this is episode 204 of the Shit Podcast. I'm your host, Vegan Pete, always by my side, the bewildering beauty.
Hey guys, Avi Ale here. How you doing?
I'm good, Avi. How are you?
Good. And if anybody in chat saw me oddly turn around really quickly, it's because I had to take my retainers out because they're making me lisp really bad right now, and I did not want to do that on the podcast, and I forgot until right then.
Well, thank you for being here in your lispy glory, Avi.
I'm not lispy. I'm lisply-less.
And I went with bewildering beauty today because it seems to always bewilder people when you have straight hair instead of curly hair.
Yeah, I know.
They don't think it's really you.
I know. I actually, at work, I went to go help somebody who I've had regular interactions with, and it's a combination of the pink is faded from my hair and it's straight, and I came like, hey, I'm here to help, da-da-da. And he's like, and I was like,
He's
it's
like,
me.
get the fuck away.
He's like, oh my God, I didn't recognize you, like, at all. Oh, okay.
Well, despite the change of the follicle, we have a great show for you tonight.
It's gonna be fantabulous.
And it's a good one to call into. So join our Discord, hop in that On Deck channel, and let us know what you thought about the live letter. Live letter 57 just happened yesterday.
Oh my God.
We want to get your opinion, and we give you the option to get it out there so everyone can hear it.
Unlike Pete's farts, which he does that with too, and I try to make him not, it doesn't work. Cricket, 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 cricket.
There we go.
I knew it was coming.
And don't forget, it is the first episode of the month, and that means we open up the community roundup to you, the community. Are you creating content?
Yes.
Let us know.
Yes.
Really like someone else's content? Let us know. Let us know all the good things that you got going on. You got a hot take on some of these changes.
I know we got somebody in chat who just started streaming, like you.
Are
see you there.
All about those lewd, nude pictures in Final Fantasy XIV?
Those aren't allowed.
That
so
Yoshi P hates?
I don't like them either, personally.
You can call in to talk about it, baby.
Yeah, if you want to. I think we all heard enough about that, though, at the live letter.
And if you're joining us here live at twitch.tv/SheHealsITank, thank you very much. If you don't want to call in, you can put your opinions in the chat, and we will read them out if they're good.
And hopefully I'll get
if they're
your name
not,
right.
We'll just ignore them.
It's likely I won't, but there's a chance I might this time.
And if you are joining us here live, don't forget, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you get one free Twitch Prime sub to use every month for free, taking $5 out of Jeff Bezos's pocket.
You won't even notice. That's like a penny of a penny.
He just sold like $1 billion worth of stock, so he can afford it. Let's get that $5 from him. And you can sub like these amazing people. We got Paranoid Jumbotron and Dead Prosaic. First time subs. Thank you so much.
Dead Prosaic. I heard when you said that, I thought you said like Dead Prozac.
I was about to say that, and then
that's
spelled
why.
different. Ghost Wolf Rage and Connolly for 4 months. Johnny Smith Apple 5 months. King of Nokos 7 months. Ananikon 8 months. Patrick Manex 9 months. Moxie hitting that 1 year mark.
You get the golden crown. You're a mentor poop now.
Happy shit day.
Happy shit day. It's your shitiversary.
Midnight N713 14 months. Shintir 16. Aurori 25. Aja 30 25. And Sorceress 180 29.
Oh my God, 29. How have we been doing this that long?
Doesn't seem like that long.
Seems like only yesterday.
So, like I said, got a big show. Want to hear your shots? Put it in chat. Join the Discord to call in. Whatever you want to do. We want to hear from you. And now, let's get to everyone's favorite segment.
Greenleaf Minute.
It's the Greenleaf Minute. And Avi has something really helpful for you if maybe you've just rebuilt a computer like she did.
Yeah. So this week, it's about backing up and then restoring your hotbars and HUD layouts. This is our Greenleaf segment this week because I recently had a very minor kind of major freakout after I had to wipe all of my hard drives, which are now magically running incredibly well, by the way, and I had to get a new C drive, hard drive, basically. That was the last thing you want to do is the thing that fixes the thing. Anyways, they're all good now, but I had a freak out when I couldn't remember whether or not I had actually backed up my settings or how to restore my settings. So if you haven't done that yet, I highly recommend you do it right now. Right now. Do it. So I'm going to tell you 2 different ways to do it, and I actually think you should do both of these ways because they are both very important. Pete, I just heard an in-game audio of your chocobo disappearing. No, you're not going crazy. That just happened. So first, we're going to talk about how you back up your settings manually. Now, manually means that you are going to be storing them locally, and I recommend that you do that on an external hard drive, honestly, as well as one of your hard drives on your computer. Put them in as many locations as you can because it's a good thing. So and I do want to apologize. Again, this is all for PC. I don't know how to do it on PS4, but hopefully, I think the manual settings is not going to be the same, but definitely the server backup is going to be the same because that interface is
But we do know that you can do it on the PS4 now. You used to not be able to do it, but now you can.
So to do them manually, you open up your Final Fantasy XIV launcher and you're going to click on Config. A menu is going to pop up and there's this super wonderful button titled Backup. You click that and then you click another button that says Backup. You got to click 2 backups. And then you choose your destination folder. And this is where you can either just put it on your C drive, your D, your F, your Z, whatever you call them. And you can put it directly onto an external hard drive. Whatever you do, you can do it once and then copy that file and put it in another location. This file is going to be named ffxivconfig.fea, and it's going to save into that selected folder. And so say you're like me and your computer pooped out and you had to reinstall the game and you're like, crap, where are all my settings? Just be sure to remember where you put that file, because when you're going to restore from that local file, you click the restore button, to get there, you go config, backup, restore. That button's literally below the backup button, the second one. And then you have to navigate to where that file is and boom, restores it. So that's super easy. You want to make sure that you don't know like what's going to happen to Square Enix's servers. You don't want to trust anyone else's stuff but your own. But that's why you want to do a local backup.
Yeah, I kind of trust their stuff more than mine.
Well, it's to do both. Don't trust you don't want one point of failure. This is what I'm saying here. So if you only trust it on the servers go down, boom, you're done. You only store it on your computer goes down, boom, you're done. You want multiple places just in case. So now that you've got your local backup, we're going to talk about how to back up all your settings on the game servers. Because again, like I said, better safe than sorry. So once you log in and you get to the character selection screen, there is an icon to the right of the names that looks like a person, like a little like head and shoulders with a little settings gear above them. This icon allows you to back up an individual character settings. However, and this is what confused me and had me freak out, if you would like to back up your entire client settings, then you're going to look for the double gear icon that's in the top right of the screen next to the new character button. So what I personally did was I only backed up the settings of my main character, and when I Googled how to restore, the restore instructions were how to restore the client, and I had nothing saved under the client, but I luckily did have it saved at least under my main character. So I lucked out in that way. So be sure to check both of those places, and you'll know that you have one saved there because the icon changes from a see-through with transparent center with a white outline to a fully filled with a white color. So that's how you know there's actually one that's saved there. So you click on this icon and you select a box that says, make sure you back up your data locally, and I know that you just did that because I just told you how to do that. And then you click the upload button to upload your settings to the server. And that's it. And then when you want to download them back, you're going to navigate back here and you're going to click the button right next to the upload button called the download button. And then boom, there you go. No need to freak out like I did, because now you can go get a new PC and have all your settings rearing and ready to go once you reinstall your game. So please be happy. Don't freak out. Back up your shit.
And it makes it so much easier, because then you have to go back looking for old screenshots you took, trying to find out how your hotbars were set up.
Fenris actually helped me out, and they posted a screenshot while I was freaking out in chat. I was like, here is this. And it was like, the resolution is so bad, but I could tell what the icons were. So even though my restore that I had done was back from before Scholar had gotten energy drain back, so my setup wasn't quite exactly what it was, but at least like all of my colors were right, my layout was right. I just had to move around some hotbar items, and so it wasn't. You were wonderful, Fenris. I really, really appreciate it. I don't know if expressed how much I appreciated your help there. You really did keep me from like super freaking out.
And then murdering.
Well, and then I'm in the game and they're like, hey, you're gonna run Copied Factory. Anyone want to join? And I was like, I can. I just have to set up my hotbars. Give me a second. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, guys, I'm ready. And they're like, oh, do you have a class other than healer? I'm like, fuck. Let me see. And so luckily I had dancer was relatively the same.
And also good to remember that information if you know you're like about to build a new PC. Don't forget to do that.
Yes.
It'll make your life so much easier.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, please. And honestly, you guys, like kind of maybe put a reminder on your calendar to do it periodically, like maybe every 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, because every once in a while I'll make like a big change to my setup.
Yeah.
To try to get better, try to get good. And then if you forget to do that, it's going to be back to your old way. You're not going to know how to play.
Yeah.
DPS is going to be like our podcast. Shitty.
Crickets.
That was a good one.
Crickets. I need to get the freaking app on my iPad so I can have my own sound effects.
Well, thank you for that, Avi. Hopefully you save some people some pain.
Please, you guys, it's so easy to do. And please do it. Please do it.
Thank you so much to Ace Kaneki Overlord for a tier 2 sub at the beginning of that segment. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Now we'll get to Avi's favorite segment. It's the tweet of the week. It is the tweet of the week. And this one comes from Oni's Arcade. And they say, at She Heals I Tank, did Pete just predict this shit correctly? And had a screen grab of the new Garuda and the new Ifrit from the Eden raid that was debuted in the live letter. And yes, a couple weeks ago, if you remember correctly, I said our CTE riddled brain would mix up and merge together Ifrit and Garuda, and we'd be getting both in one fight.
And I said I was hoping they didn't do that because I really liked Garuda, and I feel like it would like take away from her, but you know, it's okay.
Boom. You talk enough shit, you're bound to get one thing right.
As Pete would say, nailed it.
I think I actually got a few things right this patch, actually.
It's like you are learning or something.
Sometimes I can get good. All right. Thank you so much for that tweet of the week, Oni's Arcade. And there was actually there were a couple in the running this week, so thank you so much.
It was kind of fun though because Oni wasn't the only one to notice that Pete got that right. And
I know.
So it was really cute. Be like, dude, Pete totally predicted this.
For something that happens so rarely.
That's why everyone was so excited, and it was something I think that was meant to be kind of a shock thing. Like, oh my god, they're both in one fight, and I do think when we kind of talked about it, we thought it would have been more like the other fight where it's like Ramu and Pony Ixion, where they actually like merged it, made kind of a centaur. So, but they actually did keep their individual characters, and it's just a fight with both of them now. So it's fire and wind.
What if they would have gender bent him, like had him reversed, a Garuda guy and an Ifrit woman?
That'd be kind of cool, but I do think that Garuda and Ifrit both look pretty cool. Garuda looks a little spider-like from some of the images, but Ifrit's
I actually think
awesome.
Ifrit looks pretty damn cool.
He looks really cool. He's probably
massive horns on it are crazy.
You like big horns, and you cannot lie.
They like big horns, and I cannot lie. All right, so let's get into some news and notes from around the realm.
One moment, Scoot just did a horrible joke that I have to share because it's like a total dad joke, and it's amazing, and I can't let it go. If you had a band with Ifrit, Titan, and Garuda, would it be Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Nice, Scoot.
Sorry, I love it. Okay.
All right. Obviously, we have the live letter, but there was also some minor news this week as well. So I think we should get to that first. New optional items on the Mogstation. Seems like we get some new ones every week. The best thing by far, in my opinion, is the toast emote.
This is like an actual new emote. I feel like a lot of the ones that we've been getting lately are from other events. They're like, hey, you can now get the cheer emote that you missed out on before. But like, this is a legit new emote that the game has felt like it should have.
And this is toasting, as in cheersing.
Yeah, like you've got a stein.
Like toasted bread.
Well, that's an emote we're actually...
I know.
We are getting an eat. I actually really like that we're getting a better eat emote. Like, it should have been that the whole time.
You want the eating bread emote?
Well, because the character has to eat things sometimes. And I guess this is from me playing ESO. Like, if you're doing something and your character has to eat something, in ESO, your character does, like, an emote where they're, like, eating the thing. And in 14, they just, like, reach behind their butt And like they're gonna take something out of their pocket until that motion's done, and I'm like, that was her eating something. Like,
we're eating ass bread. What do you want?
I know. I like that it's more like actually what they're supposed to be doing, and I think that's really cool.
But this toast or cheers emote is really cool. You get a mug with some beverage in it, beverage of your choice, raise it
milk
to the sky, and then chug it down. And they knew it was going to be a good emote because they're charging $7 for it.
That's an expensive emote. Oh, we got a couple of jokes in chat, by the way. Both went assy and bread.
Oh, hell yeah.
Come on, ba-dum-ba.
Really?
Too slow now.
If we do it all the time, it's not going to have the impact.
It would have was good.
That's really the only new thing. The rest are new to the Mogstation, but were rewards from last year's Valentine's Day event.
Well, what I was just talking about.
But for you role players out there that are looking to set your table for Valentine's Day dinner, you can now buy extra authentic Valentine lobster platters, authentic Valentine cake pairings. Each of those will run you $5, but they come in stacks in 5. So you could do like a place setting for 5.
So, Pete, what would be the vegan equivalent of like a fancy lobster dinner with chocolate cake?
I don't know if there's a vegan equivalent for lobster.
No, like not like a 1-for-1, but like for me, if you took me out like, babe, I love you, happy Valentine's Day, we're going out for lobster, and I'd be like, hells to the yeah. What's vegan that would make you go hells to the yeah to go out for?
My favorite food is pizza.
Okay.
I'm a simple man.
I was just curious because I saw this and I was just like, oh, lobster would be really cool. Pizza. All right. Cool, guys. So I'm going to be sitting there eating my lobster plate while Pete gets his vegan pizza.
And an apple for dessert. Also for a $5, you can get an authentic stuffed mammoth. I don't think that one's too awesome.
They're cute. They got a big pink heart hat like helmet. I love them.
To each your own.
I have a few of them.
For $3, you can get the Gigas Greatsword, which is an okay looking sword, but only for Dark Knights.
I feel obligated to keep it because I like have that, but I won't play Dark Knight.
Just keep it in your glamour chest.
Mm-hmm.
Also for $3 is the Tonberry knife. And I actually really like this knife. It's very minimalist. And the problem with this is, unless they've changed it since it was first released, but I don't think they have, is that it's a culinary and secondary tool.
I was so excited when this first came out. I remember how excited I was like, oh my God, I get the ching.
Like you could like cosplay.
Yes. and then they're like, for culinary and secondary hand. Like, well,
Yeah. So not even the primary tool for culinarian, so you can't even like unsheath it to show people.
No.
You have to be like crafting. I don't think it's even every craft either. It's like crafting certain items.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just feel like that the Tonberry knife, like I would fully 150% be the scholar who glamours a gosh darn Tonberry knife over my book every time. And I'm like, that's right, bitches. My spells are written on this knife. And I'd be reading off of a knife. I would love that.
Yeah, but if you wanted to cosplay Michael Myers, then you can't do it.
No, I just
unless you're a culinarian cooking.
Awesome buddy knife girl.
And Yoshi P talked about this a little bit in the live letter, but they also made a Lodestone post about it. There are some pricing changes that will be made to fieldcraft demimateria coming in patch 5.2. In the live letter translation that I saw, they just said demimateria. They didn't specify which one, so this post clarified that.
I think they did the post essentially to clarify exactly which demimateria, because I think they intended to say fieldcraft and probably forgot. It is a huge price drop, you guys. So fieldcraft demimateria 1 is going from 220 gil to 44. Demimateria 2 is from 1100 to 220, and 3 is dropping from 2000 to 400. So it's been cut by 80%. Mioni put out a really cool video. There was someone in Twitter, oh goodness, I forgot your name. We had like a back and forth conversation about it, where because a lot of the real world money traders were using this fieldcraft demimateria as a way of exchanging funds and goods, and they had essentially a workaround to kind of make these on the easy, and so it's kind of a really good way to stop that from happening, and I can't blame them at all.
Yeah, and you know, the highest level one, the demimateria 3, was only 2,000 gil, so there must have been like a way to get a lot of them, because you need a lot at 2,000 gil to make a decent amount of money. They were just selling them to vendors. I think you'll probably be able to sell them more on the market board than the vendor. So I wouldn't know if you want to sell them to the vendor
actually,
right now.
A lot of times these demimaterias went for less on the market board than they were worth.
Did they?
Yeah, that was the thing.
Because I always saved mine because I still used them for crafting certain items.
Right. Some of them went for more. Some like it kind of varied.
It fluctuated.
Yeah.
It's not a big difference even for the level 3s. 1600 gil, that's not going to make or break you. I might save on to them and see if I can
save on to them.
Save on to them, hold on to them, and see if you can sell it for more than 400 gil on the market board.
But I don't think you will, because I think there's gonna be a bunch of people who are trying to get rid of them.
Well, I'm gonna buy them all up, baby.
Okay. And big news, Pete. I know you're really, really, really excited about this. No, it's not the ocean fishing. It's the fact that the Feast Season 4 is ending soon. Updates to the rankings page will end after Tuesday, February 11th, and the final results will be announced on the 18th. The reason they do this is because they don't want leaders to not play, and they don't want them to sit on their leads. So you got to play, or someone might overtake you.
Yeah, so that's a good choice, actually.
I
agree with that. Out of all the PvP in the game, I think Feast is the best. I still don't play it, but from the bit that I have played, I enjoy it more than Frontlines.
I could see you getting into the Feast, actually.
And it is... I still don't think they're balanced very well, but it's the most balanced out of all the PvP. Because you actually have set teams. Like, you need a tank, a healer, 2 DPS.
Right.
When you get a group with no healers, you're fucked in Frontlines.
From kind of what I've heard about, like, the Feast even, it's all about who's got the best healer. That's how it's unbalanced, is that, like, if you have a kick-ass healer,
But that's how it should be. If you're a shit player, you shouldn't win.
No. Like it's mostly about how good your healer.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about, the balance.
Yeah, so that's kind of like it's kind of cool to see that, like, healers can be OP in some particular content and make such a big difference. But I do think it should definitely be more balanced, because that's more fun.
And just a quick reminder, the irregular tomestones that we have right now, or Moogle tomes as they're referred to often, will no longer be able to be earned after patch 5.2. So be sure to get as many as you need to buy whatever you want before the patch. And I would spend them before the patch just to be safe. I think they usually let it go for like another like 0.05 patch or to the next patch to be able to purchase what you get.
Well, yeah, you just can't keep earning them.
But you won't be able to earn them.
Right.
But just buy what you want. You know what you want.
Get it. Get what you want.
And obviously we had a live letter. So this is one of those weeks where news and discussion are kind of one of the same thing. So let's call that the news. And let's get to teaching me some lore. Or really you asking me a question that I always get right.
Where's my sound clip?
Knew I was forgetting something.
I like that one still. This question actually comes from KK McLeod, and I will give you a hint afterwards, because I actually thought this was pretty clever, because this is kind of pop culture related.
Oh, so you're saying I need a hint.
3 of the Shadowbringers Light Warden bosses are Greek words. Their names are Greek words that share a common theme of what? A, light, B, love, C, hope, or D, sin.
I think I know this one.
And I can give you the names of them if you really need it.
I think I know this one.
Okay.
I think it's love.
Why do you think it's love?
Because I think I remember that from looking up their names before.
You are right. And you know how this is pop culture related was that we watched a commercial during the Super Bowl, and it talked about the different types of love.
Oh, yeah, there was a commercial like that.
Yeah, so he messaged me, and I was like, I remember that commercial. That commercial was really cool. So, yeah, good job, Pete. You got one right.
Again, I have never gotten one wrong. I declare victory over this segment. Big news of the week, though, Avi. Live letter 57. And with that came the trailer. Do you think we should go ahead and watch that first?
I don't know. Do you guys want to watch the trailer? I really like watching the trailer. I tried to watch it kind of at work on my phone when my computer was rebooting and my boss interrupted me a few times. So I'd like to watch it again.
This is rated teen. So if you're not a teen...
Partial nudity, sexual themes,
Close
use of alcohol
your eyes.
and tobacco and violence and blood.
I didn't see any use of alcohol and tobacco.
And language.
All right, so let's start this out.
I thought he already started it.
No, not yet. Here it comes. We got some Garleans preparing the ruby weapon.
That sound you always hear with the Garlean. That's the ruby weapon. It's very ultimate-like. It's very like we are starting up this machine.
And it's piloted, which I didn't know. I
someone
guess I
as
should have
pale as
expected
me.
that.
He gets super creepy looking.
Fighting some ruby weapon, doing some dashes.
I really like there's one move they show him where his fingers like go into the ground right there and then it like explodes the ground. I think that looks so cool.
I think that's going to be the tank buster.
Kindle these flames, and I cannot allow them to spread any further.
This guy is talking.
Fighting stuffy dumpy.
Spread your markers.
They did it
Such
justice in
vessels did
7.
The ancients preserve concepts.
Running through the new dungeon.
You see it with the trusts, Katari,
Katari.
and the light up trees like the one
Ocean
behind
fishing, baby.
The act of creation.
You got ground AoE, so did I, Aurora. He just wants to be stabbed by his fingers. Really cool, like water mob. Yes, this is
Damn boots, Gaia.
He looks so cool. Oh my god.
Flock of seagulls.
Not a hairstyle. It means there's like a bunch of birds. Lightning. You know what that means. Ramosian.
Ramusian?
Ramusian. And Ifrit Garuda. What is their name?
They're not
Garudit.
what?
Garudit. They're still like a couple now.
As the Exarch's research suggests, soul and mind share a fragile yet profound bond.
Do you notice?
Might it not be possible for an event to leave such a deep imprint upon the soul that it could be perceived eons later?
You can talk
That,
about
they cut out, there's somebody's name whose soul we're talking about. Someone's soul. It's clipped there. The light! It's too much
I'm going to call her Gothphelia.
Y'shtola. And so there's this really interesting world that's like falling apart.
In which case,
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is called.
Like there's light where it's like kind of breaking and the buildings are falling apart. Stained glass. We got Sid fighting with us. Shiny, shiny light.
8-bit crystal.
Oh no, Sid is hurt, you guys.
Only by the will of the star itself could such a miracle come to pass.
Bad Bert.
Original Bert. I love her. And then I love,
Xenos.
so this like pimp coat, like wearing it on his shoulders like a cape. He's just like, yeah, bitches.
Like a dickhead.
12.
By the 12, Alphina's upset because it looks like another calamity is happening.
Get out
right
of here,
now.
Alphino.
This like legit calamity, like boom, explosion. See everybody's face is kind of warrior light, warrior of darkness. Asian.
Bennett Selk, how very unlike you to err so gravely.
I think it's so cool. DSL of darkness.
Dick-sucking lips of darkness?
That's what KK said. Icarus has been theorized that it's the place that Sid's father was doing the meteor project. Oh, I like that idea. Interesting idea. I like that because we weren't sure where that was. All right, Pete. So yeah, what he told me to stop. So if you listen to Y'shtola, she says you had the if as the Exarch suggests, and then you can, if you hear it, it's not a great clip. Like she says someone's name's soul. Like if as the Exarch suggests, Vegan Pete's soul and mind share a fragile yet profound bond. So like it's like definitely a complete sentence, and they had to try to cut out whoever's name it is. It might be the Warrior of Light's soul and mind. It might, you don't know.
I don't know if I totally agree with you on that.
Oh, I'm like
I
fully
didn't
convinced.
hear it.
I heard it every time I heard it. There's a weird cut at
I noticed
that
it
moment.
later on in the sentence. I think they might have combined two sentences, but I didn't feel like they cut out someone's name.
I do. Because this sentence doesn't make sense without it being another person. If, as the Exarch suggests, someone's soul and mind share a fragile yet profound
Can't that just
bond.
be anyone's soul and mind?
I feel like it's two people.
He's just saying, like, your soul and your mind share a fragile yet profound bond.
Might it not be possible for an event to leave such a deep imprint on the soul, but it could be perceived eons later? That is true, but it does. Yes. So Kake is saying like it's likely an NPC. I do feel like it's. I think. I feel like this is bad Bert and good Bert. This is them. This is them being split, and then but actually sharing a profound bond because they're from the same soul.
Did you just make a wild speculation?
I did, you guys. You should be so proud of me. I'm wildly speculating. It's not a thing I do.
All right, book it. Let's see if she gets it right. So yeah, and then I think another Y'shtola line a little bit later in the trailer was, in which case none of this is mere coincidence. I don't know what that is referring to. I don't think it's necessarily in reaction to that first line we read.
No.
Could be something totally different. They like to do that with these trailers. They cut up lots of different
it's
audio.
just like the movies do the same thing.
They have someone else's audio over a picture of someone else.
But you have to admit, when they started doing that with the trailers got much more entertaining.
They're much more cinematic.
Yes.
I think the old ones probably gave you more information.
I'd rather have it be more cinematic because the cinematic ones get me super hyped. And if you can figure out everything that's going to happen from the trailer, it's like going to a comedy and already seeing all the jokes. Like, I like to be like, ooh, that's what happened there.
Let's go to the comedy, yeah. So yeah, beginning of that, we had the Garleans getting the ruby weapon ready. It appears to be piloted.
Somebody referred in chat. I made a comment. We're talking about paleness because everybody going to FanFest try to get a tan for San Diego, and I said I'm so pale that I reflect on stream. And they said, oh, like the ruby weapons pilot. So hey, there you go, spoiled.
And later, I think the first voice that we hear in this trailer is Gaius, and I believe he's talking about the ruby weapon. And his line was, "It was my hand that kindled these flames, and I cannot allow them to spread any further." And I think that's when he was with the Empire, that's something he worked on.
Mm-hmm.
And now he knows it's getting ready to be used, and he's going to try to stop it.
Of course, because he was part of the bad. Icarus is actually expanding upon the good Bert, bad Bert. Well, of course, Warrior of Light is included in that because we are a version of that as well. So yeah, it is essentially the Warrior of Light, but it's, I think, represented with the good Bert, bad Bert, and because we're not actually ever.
What about emo Bert?
Well, I feel like we're not actually like part of. We're like kind of the observer who takes part, who does stuff, but like you're not going to be like. I feel like in Shadowbringers more than the previous ones, the Warrior of Light played a very distinct role with the accepting of the light, absorbing of it. But before you were kind of like the silent person who was there guiding the journey, and now we're actually like really a larger piece in it. We're part of it. Yeah.
And we get some of the Ruby fight, doing dashes, explosions. I thought I saw a tank buster. Other people think that's going down and then shooting out
I
AoE.
think that's the sound effect the ruby weapon when he does it. When his fingers go into the ground, he goes.
I actually thought it was both. I thought they were doing a tank buster and then there's AoE going out.
I think they hit the ground, so it's kind of like Tremors, where like they jump in the ground and then they like explode the ground in other spots. So,
but it's going to be the tank right in front of it, so it's going to do
AoE?
the tank buster and AoE.
I don't think so.
Healer check.
Oh, Chili just said that mechanic is actually from Final Fantasy VII.
Healer check. And then we get a little bit of the new dungeon, I believe, but I'm not sure who is speaking at this point. But it says, in such vessels did the ancients preserve concepts, ideal forms to be drawn upon in the act of creation. And from the little bit of the inside of this dungeon that I noticed, it's lined with kind of long crystals, like all over the place.
They showed it when it almost looks like a time capsule thing, like a person could step into. Kind of like the crystal areas that they've stored the other beasts and stuff in previous.
But I'm wondering if, like, because there's a lot of these crystals.
Yeah, like where they had the clones.
If it's like a data storage system, like they put a creation in that crystal and then they can just like create life out of it. Like they talk about the creation magics.
So yeah, I was thinking of it more like the clones where they make them and they store them in there and they can pull them out whenever they need to.
I feel like this is like, what is it? What's this one called? Like, Andai or something, but it was like a remembering type thing.
Okay.
And I think this is going to be like, this is how they did their creations.
Oh, I agree with that. I just don't know that the mechanism we're referring to is going to work in the same way that we are both assuming.
Yeah. And then later on, we got another dungeon boss. Last week we talked about that Cyclops bull thing.
I love him.
This one, it was water-based, kind of like a turtle,
and
but not
there's
really.
Like water hands behind him that kind of like wave out in the attack, and the way that they were designed is just really cool looking. So I'm really excited.
Had a mage staff.
Yes. So
maybe it's going to be doing some magic.
Water mage.
And then we get a quick little shot of the Katana Beast Tribe, and they are, hanging out by a crystal. Kind of like the beast tribes in A Realm Reborn were.
Well, and if you're on stream with us, you'll see. So there's a tree behind our characters that when the sun goes down glows like a white crystal in it. There's actually different trees in this zone that have different color crystals that sort of light up in the center of them. And I wanted us to be in this area because of that, because you do see the crystals lighting up in the trees in the Katari cutscene. So I thought that was kind of an interesting element.
Or is it Qatari? I don't remember.
Qatari.
So we get a quick shot of them.
It's Qatari, you turd burglar.
Okay. God damn. Savage. Dropping the turd burglar.
Sorry. That's like my brother's insult from when I was a child. I don't know where that came from. Like that's where I got that. It was him.
And then we also get a quick shot of the ocean fishing ship, and we saw a little bit of that more on the live letter.
I actually I'm not going to do the ocean fishing, which we're going to talk about it in a bit, but I'm very happy with how it seems they've implemented it.
And then we get a cool shot of Gaia walking out for the first time in
She's
those
so fucking cool.
high heels.
I really feel like with her design, I talked about this last week, like they actually took into account the mods people had used on like the facial features.
The ones that he hates.
No, he doesn't like the over sexualization of his game, which I understand, but sorry, chat. It's making me laugh. Don't do that to me again. But the shape of her lips and her eyes and her makeup and everything was very just different from any characters in the game, and I really appreciated that.
And then we get a shot of another part of the Eden raid fighting Ifrit and Garuda at the same time.
Brown
I think
chicken, brown
Ifrit
cow.
looks amazing. Garuda's got some thighs on her.
I like thighs.
And we also saw the flock of birds that we were fighting in the Eden raid.
Wait, Chad is making jokes about that. I don't want to fish because it's going to be I'm pale and I'll burn. And then Ivory asks how I'm going to get tan for FanFest. I don't tan, honey.
Avi doesn't tan.
I don't tan. I burn. So I will be just as pale for FanFest as I am now.
I'm surprised she hasn't burned from these bright lights that we got. And we already talked about that Y'shtola line.
Yes.
And then this next line, I think, might be Reen.
That makes sense. I was wondering who said it, where she says, the light. It's too much for her to bear.
And I think she might be talking to Gaia or about Gaia.
I think it was about Gaia as well. Because Gaia's very much like, it's very a dark character, and she seems like she was kind of on like the Warrior of Darkness side.
And then the next piece of vocals we hear is, only by the will of the star itself could such a miracle come to pass. And to me, it sounded like Ardbert. I don't know if that's Bad Bert, Elidibus Bert, or whatever.
And then right after that, we hear here.
That's a little bit later on. That's when Xenos is kind of bringing down Dalamud. We hear Heidelin.
I don't know. I feel like it's interesting, though, that audio is the audio that follows what was said there, I guess is more what I was trying to say.
And we also get a really quick clip of Diadem. You see someone using like a proton blaster type thing.
Ooh.
That's actually a gatherer move in the Diadem.
Like
killing a monster.
Star Trek, like boop, boop, boop.
Not a phaser. Not a phaser. It's like bigger than a phaser.
What's a proton blaster?
It's like a boom boom stick.
That's okay.
It's
That's
a big,
a
it's
boom
a big
stick,
blaster, baby.
A boomstick is a shotgun. It's a boom. What is a proton blaster? Like,
I
what's
don't
that from?
know.
Oh.
I was just making up a word.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know what it's called.
Because I actually didn't really notice
I think
that.
it's called like an ethereal something. But yeah, as a gatherer, you get to use it.
Cool.
And blow up some mobs. When he did it on stream, he got a lot of material. So you're gonna get a lot of you're gonna get a lot of gathered materials that you probably use for crafting, or maybe just turning in. Who knows?
Cool.
We get a shot of a blonde Ara, which you said is Evilise character.
Return of Evilise, yes.
So that's gonna have to do with the Bozja stuff, most likely going forward.
Yep.
We get a shot.
Thank you. Icarus knew the name.
Mikoto.
We were wondering.
We get a shot of Sid and Y'shtola fighting with us.
I'd love that Sid is going to be part of the trusts again. I feel like we haven't had him like in stuff since MSQ.
I don't know if this is a trust. I don't think this is a dungeon. I think this is going to be like one of those solo instances that we have to do.
Aurora, thank you. A proton blaster is from Ghostbusters. For anyone who's listening who is like sitting there going, "Oh my god!" I was like, I know that phrase.
It is kind of similar to that, maybe.
No, but I was wondering what proton blaster was from. Like that's what I like. That phrase is familiar. Got it. Sorry.
So yeah, I don't think Sid is going to be part of our trust. I think that's going to be like one of those solo instances that we do.
I want to fight alongside some Sid. I like me some Sid.
Well, he'll be fighting alongside you, but it won't be
It's not the same.
It won't be a trust for a dungeon.
It's not the same. I can't do whatever I want.
But I'm not sure what that area is. It's like a city that's all kind of reminds me of Nier Automata, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a bunch of cubes. And
Icarus says it's gonna be a trust. Wild speculation. Thank you.
I don't think that's part of the dungeon.
Wild speculation.
As far as I know, dungeons are the only thing that has trusts.
What would Sid be in the trust? A machinist? No.
Engineer, new job.
I know, right? I feel like he'd be like machinist. Yeah, Fen said the same thing. I feel like it's very like techie. Like he'd have a robot to fight with him and stuff.
He's gonna be an engineer, and they're just gonna tease you with a job you can't play, just like they're gonna tease you with a female Rothgar.
Oh. Oh, Crystal Exarch had his own job, so...
Yeah, we got some weird-ass polygons going in with an 8-bit crystal. Then at the very end, we get Xenos with a jacket that he's wearing as a cape.
All I can picture him is going to like, I look fabulous, and like flinging his cape, and I'm like, yes, you do, boo. You do.
And at the same time, Dalamud is coming down. I don't know what to think about this. Because we know he is controlled by an Ascian, and Ascians can kind of... I feel like they can kind of like show us what's happened in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that could be something that's happening or if something new is happening.
Icarus says that he has many thoughts on that, Pete.
Well, you can let us know by joining that on deck circle and
I know you want
calling
to,
in.
Icarus. I know that's what that means.
And then at the very end of the trailer, we hear someone saying, I don't know who, could be Litibus maybe? Could be another Ascian we don't know. I don't know how many are left.
Emmett Selk, how very unlike you to err so gravely.
You have any idea who that is?
I wasn't sure actually who said that when I heard it.
Neither do I. But, so that's everything that we got from the trailer.
It's a Litibus.
It's a Litibus. There we go.
That's why we have Icarus around.
My instinct was correct.
Oh, which was confirmed by his Japanese voice actor. Awesome. Thank you.
So we do have some pictures. I want to go over the new raid, Eden's Verse first.
Eden's Verse first. First.
That. There we go. First picture we have is of the Ramu Ixian creation.
He's kind of hot. Not going to
He
lie.
is hot. Kind of reminds me of Sid as well.
I know. I have a type.
And Sid is hot.
So, Pete, we do have Icarus on deck if you want to jump back before we go into this too far, or do you want to jump into this and then go back?
All right, let's see. Oh, that's not Icarus. That's T-Learn.
Oh, we have to learn on deck. I'm sorry. I just assumed it was going to be Icarus.
All right, we can bring in T-Learn. T-Learn, how are you doing tonight?
Be ready to adjust the volume.
And what do you got for us?
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing all right.
All right, what did you have to tell us about Live Letter 57?
So the first thing that I really liked was the fact that Ruby Weapon was out there and as Shelly was saying in chat, had some of the mechanics were look like they're carryovers from Final Fantasy VII.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty excited about that. I'm excited that that my boy Maxima's back. I'm gonna mix up his name, but he's that poor confused boy that seems to get himself into so much trouble as a guardian. Means well, but he just it was though I imagine that
Which character are you talking about?
The guy who I'm gonna butcher his name.
What did he look like even? Just describe him.
Very tall. He was in the picture with Gaius in her.
See the Ellison? The Ellison?
Oh, Maxima?
Yeah, that guy.
There you go. Yeah, the Ellison with the glasses.
So yeah, the Ellison with the glasses. So I was excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited that it seems like Gaius is actually like going for a full actual real redemption thing.
Yeah.
And of course I was very, very excited about Gaia, and if I actually was really working on some sketches for a potential cosplay thing.
Nice.
For that.
I was actually, I thought about that earlier today, and I was like, God, that'd be so cool to cosplay as. And I was like, I have too much of a round, like, innocent face to cosplay her. Like, I can't cosplay that. I'm more like, I don't have the boobs for it, but I'm more like.
You don't have to look just
well, no,
like
I'm
the
more
person.
like Minfilia, I think, than I am like the dark, sultry.
I just want to see you try to walk around in those heels.
I would die.
Yeah, those heels would kill my feet. But I mean, they look really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, but yeah, that was the biggest thing, and I definitely have a lot of thoughts about the whole. I'm not entirely sure that Dalma is that Xenos is bringing down is the same Dalma that was from 1.0.
Yeah.
I don't think it
I
is.
get it.
I don't
Yeah,
think it
I
is.
get yeah. Sorry.
No, no reason to apologize.
Well, thank you so much, T-Learn. Did you
yeah.
have any other thoughts to make?
Yeah, really quick. And then the biggest question that I have going through in my head. I have so many like theory crafting things. Is how in the heck did Xenos make the way across the gap and make his way into Dream Emerald, where the dungeon and the phantoms and everything like that? I have to know.
I was kind of talking to Pete while we were watching it before the podcast started that it seems almost like there's like a merging of worlds.
Well,
like they're being smashed together.
You said Xenos, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Xenos is an Ascian. I mean, an Ascian is in that body, and Ascians can basically travel wherever the hell they want, right?
Is he an Ascian?
No, he's not an Ascian
Well,
anymore.
No, he's not anymore. He's back in his own body.
I forgot they. Yeah.
Yeah.
He reclaimed his body.
Yeah, he went back to. He's like, ooh, that feels so good.
He's compared to an Ascian, which I can understand why you would be confused about that, Pete. Because but metaphorically, he's an Ascian, but he's not. He's no different than an Ascian, but
part Ascian.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the last patch, he was talking about like basically Zodiark. So maybe he's doing something to try to bring out Zodiark and.
Ivory suggested that perhaps it's a mixture of the influence of the Ascian that was in his body plus his echo that allows him to travel to the first.
Yeah.
He's got some weird Freaky Friday shit going on.
I just noticed that when I was looking at the world around them, that there was the Garlean logo happening on like the flags and stuff, but then the world itself looked like it was breaking and crushing together, and then at the top it was almost like it was space-like where the rocks were kind of falling off and floating away. And that's what I meant by like kind of felt like something was smashed together and kind of destroying and falling apart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually makes it seem like one of the rejoining, like a weird hybrid rejoining thing.
Right. Like something could potentially be happening there.
Makes the line that Arbert or whatever that dude is that looks like Arbert says to us probably in the trailer makes it much more appealing.
Right? I thought that was kind of a fun idea. All right, Tillerin, we actually still have 2 more people on deck. So do you have one more thing you want to add before we start pulling them in?
No, that was it.
I really appreciate you calling in. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, T-Learn.
Bye.
Bye.
And I think Chili was next on deck, so we're going to go ahead and bring Chili on. Chili, how are you doing? Are you really hyped for patch 5.2?
Yes, I am, thank you. I enjoyed the trailer so much.
Okay, and
So
what did you want to call in about?
Can you turn
If
him
you
up
want to
a
pull
little?
on Icarus first, I want to talk about the raid stuff, so I don't mind waiting a little bit.
Oh, okay. So you want us to go to Icarus so we can go back to this and bring you in for raid?
Yep.
All right, let's do that, Pete.
All right, we got Icarus in the house now. Icarus, what did you have to talk about for patch 5.2?
What don't I have to talk about? So I am on the wild speculation train once again. I have not been very accurate in my wild speculations, but I think I'm a better. I think my prediction models have gotten better since last time.
Okay.
So so as I mentioned, I think a little bit in chat, there's a couple of competing theories going on in regards to Good Bert, Bad Bert, and Elidibus. The boring theory that's out there is that Bad Bert is just Elidibus in Ardbert's body.
Yeah, that is kind of boring.
That's a really boring one because it's like he got his ass kicked by Xenos when he had Xenos's body.
But I see how it makes sense. Like it's a logical direction to go.
It's like, oh well, I got my ass kicked by a guy who got his ass kicked by the Warrior of Light, so I'm just going to do the same strategy instead. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
And I think that's...
And thank you for that raid, Viel, really quickly.
Nice job.
We are talking about the, we're wildly speculating right now with Icarus, who is our Evilise expert.
That I am.
Self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed.
I think you just proclaimed him.
No, it was in chat. You missed it earlier.
Yeah, I was self-proclaimed, and then it's been legitimized by Avi.
Yes, I legitimize things. I am the legitimizer.
So, going back to it. So that's the boring theory that everyone... That's probably, if I had to, like, put some money on it, that's, like, probably what's going to happen, and I'm going to be sad that that's going to be the
I
reason.
hope not, because I feel like what they've done in Shadowbringers has been so much more than that, and that feels so much like previous storytelling for Final Fantasy XIV that I feel
that feels like Stormblood, yeah.
Right, yeah, it feels like Stormblood. It just doesn't feel exciting and new, and everything they did in Shadowbringers was so much punchier and so much more fun, and so I really hope they don't kind of step back in that direction, because I don't think it's a positive direction for the storytelling.
So what I'm thinking, this is my wild speculation.
What you're hoping.
What I'm hoping is that instead it is the 13th shard of the Warrior of Light, just like how Ardbert was the first shard.
Okay. Why the 13th?
And well, because we're doing a lot of... That's like the one that they brought up.
Okay.
Most.
That makes sense. I just wanted to know what made your brain go to 13.
Just because that would be easier instead of like introducing a bunch more shards, all like in a short amount of time. They would just be like, that would be an easier one to reach out to. It's like, oh, we got this guy.
Yeah.
If they're gonna do the boring dumb one, at least let it be somebody not Ardbert.
That's
but
fair.
Still has that sort of motif of looking like Ardbert.
Oh, Chili just said we already had the 13th shard Warrior of Light.
Oh, did we? Is it the little midget kid?
Did he just shoot you down? The little midget kid? What?
The one that's like hanging out in the
Rising
Leaking
Stones.
Sands. Or the Rising Stones. There we go. That kid. Yeah.
I just had never heard him referred to in that way, so I was a little caught off guard.
I forget it. He has a goofy name that's connected to a star that's connected to Elidibus and means serpent. It's a long, goofy name.
Okay.
I just call him the little midget kid.
Little midget kid. That works. I'm sure people like get that. People
All right,
check on it.
Since I'm the lore expert, his name is Una Kalhai.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I actually remember. Okay, now I know who you're talking about. I do remember his name.
Big brain.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I think it's a dumb name.
It's his bad name. How did you remember that, Pete? Because I don't see that in chat.
I'm a fucking genius. That's
did
how.
that? Did you actually just remember that?
Yes.
Oh my God, who are you?
I pay attention
Lore is
sometimes.
sticking in his brain.
I know.
If you threw enough questions at him, he would get it.
It's something that'll stick.
Yeah. So maybe not the 13th then, but maybe just a different shard. Regardless, it's like maybe one that's not quite out of balance. Just like how they brought Ardbert in.
Mm-hmm.
Just a different shard. Different shard that's also maybe in one of their back burner cooking pots. We're gonna knock that one over too. But that's what I'm thinking. That whole thing is gonna be.
I've kind of been wondering that as well too, because it's like we're all different pieces of the shard, and it kind of goes back to what Y'shtola said, where like it does feel like the Warrior of Light based off of what hot sexy Asian dude Emmett Selk said was that you like how my brain goes that we were like he sees more of us in it, like we're a larger piece of the shard. It's not necessarily that the shards were broken up into equal pieces. It's not like 1 shard, 2 shard, 3 shard. Like they're not equal pieces. We are a larger piece of that shard, but they are also pieces of that same shard.
Well, we've had 7 calamities.
Right. Well, and this is actually like goes back to kind of a story I heard as a kid. I remember where they talked about like soulmates, and that the world was originally like 3 different crystals essentially, and that they were shattered, and that when you meet someone and you feel like that person is your soulmate, it's because they actually come from the same crystal that you came from. And so it's you finding that crystal, that shard that connects with yours, and you feel that you want to rejoin with them, you want to be with them again because it makes you feel whole. And so it's kind of along those. I don't remember where I read that or where I heard that, but it kind of makes sense with the storyline going on. Pete's laughing at me, thinking it's ridiculous, but I always thought it was a really cool story.
it's part of that wording you use, the rejoining.
Yeah.
We've had 7 rejoinings.
Right. So it's
That's
kind of
why we're
interesting.
Bigger piece.
Yeah. Chili's
That's
like, sounds
my-
like a future Final Fantasy plot. Pete laughing at me.
I know. I just think that not a future Final Fantasy. I think that's the current Final Fantasy plot. It's like I subscribe to the War of like Ubermensch theory of like the whole point of Shadowbringers, we're gonna gather a bunch of remnants of ourselves and like become whole.
But if we become whole, isn't that essentially an Ascian?
Well, I mean, that's what the Prime Ascians are.
Right,
Like
they're
leftover
whole.
people who are more or less, who were the ones that were left unsundered.
Right.
And we would
but
be
whole.
restored. We would be a restored Amarantian, not an Ascian.
Mm.
Because Ascians are the guys who work for Zodiac. So my whole thinking is we got to get whole to take down Zodiac. And,
Okay.
like, knock that story out.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm really excited to see how it goes.
This is the part of stuff where I check out on.
Oh, sorry, Pete.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
Anything you wanted to add, Icarus, before we move on to the raid stuff with Chili?
The only thing I was going to add was I'm so glad that Matsuno is back for more return of Evilly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like super excited and super happy about that because I was really, again, I think I mentioned last time I was really disappointed with the Nier stuff. So the fact that I'm going back to a happy place,
Yeah.
being the resident.
I do think it's cool that they brought them back. I wasn't a huge fan of the Evilly storyline. I actually really enjoy the Nier stuff, so it's kind of fun to have that different dynamic and see that.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll enjoy this more, and you will as well.
Yeah, I'm hoping they'll do better stuff with the Nier stuff. Once they got more story laid out. At least the first one didn't impress me.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was just definitely a setting up. All right, so you have a wonderful evening, and we will talk to you later.
Thank you so much, Icarus.
And we're going to talk about some Eden's verse.
Actually, I think someone else on deck might have a little quicker thing than that.
Oh,
so I want to bring in my name buddy, Peter, aka Meat Pete.
Maybe Vegan Pete and Meat Pete.
So we got Meat Pete in chat, and I think he has a complaint.
Wait, who is also, I have to say, Flatus from Maelstrom Radio. Like, you got to, give the shout out. Hi.
So I think everyone's really hyped, but you have one problem?
Well, there's sometimes you got to think, like, why did Maelstrom Radio stop talking about Final Fantasy 14? And it's because one of us is the Salt Lord, and
Salt is tasty.
I'm okay with everything else in the patch. Like, I'll come back and play it. I'm probably taking the day off on the 18th.
Nice.
To hang out with my girlfriend / producer.
Most
Susan's
awesome
birthday.
person in the FC. Yeah.
Yeah. To go do content that day.
Uh-huh.
But I like how 3 years ago, Prime Maelstrom Radio content time, they're like, hey, umbrellas, all right? And it's going to be an umbrella mount. It's going to be great. Never came, right? And all of a sudden, it's like, I see the umbrella in the live, and I'm 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired.
Yeah, you got
live
up
tweeting
early.
this
I
thing.
remember.
Oh, yeah, the no coffee, non-content
It took
live tweeting.
3 years to make this content.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah, it did. By the way, the official Bodie McBoatface account liked one of my tweets that I made from that thread. 3 years to make content for an umbrella, and we're losing a dungeon, and I'm really pissed off about that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's right. If this is, and there ends up, I would be less pissed if they didn't say, oh, we're gonna add umbrellas to other content.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why not just give me a dungeon? I'd rather
Yes.
take the extra dungeon and forego umbrellas.
Pete and I actually were just...
I don't know. You can get pretty creative with umbrellas.
Well, we were just talking about it before the podcast started, and I was like, so who actually wanted this? And he goes, no one. No one wanted this.
It's like that meme where it goes nobody, absolutely nobody, and then the
I was like,
punchline
okay.
umbrellas comes at the end of that
But
one.
I get it. Like, there's people on servers that are just like, oh, the G-pose possibilities. No, it's not even that. You can't emo with them. It's just something that changes your...
It's a
how you
mount
walk.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Well,
like-
hopefully
Yeah, it's a
eventually we can take off and actually use them like a mount.
Your
Like-
heels had
like
better
Mary
stick.
Poppins
Yeah,
away?
yeah. Your heels had better stick together like Mary Poppins, or I just am not okay with it.
Listen, if my liftoff was me clicking my heels and just taking off away, like holding the umbrella, I'm okay with at that point. I'm
Right?
okay with it.
Like,
But right now,
No.
No, like this is dumb.
It's like a blue sad umbrella. Like, why is it that, like, at least make just make a black umbrella to start out. Make it like hardcore black with an awesome handle. Like,
Yeah, I come to realize that, and you know, some people may not like me saying this, but the longer I'm playing this game, the more I'm becoming a Nero.
You're a what?
That may not be a great
A
thing.
Nero.
A Nero.
I'm slowly becoming a Nero, and it's just like an umbrella. Like I could just imagine his voice in the back of my head just yelling. Like,
he would be ripping it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See,
And like a parasol button. Like I almost threw my phone across the room. It's like too early in the morning to hear parasol button.
I was just confused by it. Like it kept kind of coming up again, and they're like umbrellas, and I'm like, but who? But why?
I kind of thought it was like a housing item or something like that whenever they would talked about umbrellas.
And people were excited. We did get the housing item. We got there's a little like umbrella stand, and you can dye that. It looks kind of like stained glass. It's a cute housing item. And everybody was like, oh my God, this means we're going to get umbrellas in the game. And I'm like, why do you care?
It's like a whole new system.
It's legitimately not even just a simple thing. It's a new system to make it. Like, why waste time on that?
It's piggybacking off the mount system, and it's and it does nothing. It does absolutely, and it took resource. And to think about this, it's taking resources, now taking art team people because he wants to add this to other content. So now somebody's going to have to come up with like Garuda umbrellas, Moggle, because they want people to go run old content. So just like they did with the music, now there's going to be like Titan umbrella.
That's true.
That's got like a dangly like little like grundle cloth under your head or whatever it is.
In 6.0, instead of ponies or birds, we're going to have umbrellas.
So wrong. Oh man. I don't understand it. It seems, I actually had this thought. I remember thinking, was somebody just like, hey Yoshi, I had this really good idea. And don't worry. I did all of this in my spare time. Okay. This was all done in my spare time. But look, I made these really, really awesome umbrellas. And we can just piggyback off the mount thing. And it's super easy and it's so cool. We can just implement it. Look, it's really cool. And I'm like, I'm hoping that's the amount of effort that was involved in this design.
I don't know, because 3 years ago in the middle of Heavensward they announced umbrellas and it was a mount, like because remember they announced two things. They announced the chair that we got in MGP. And the other thing was the umbrella, and everybody's like, that's a dope mount, like that's kind of cool. I want the umbrella, like fuck the chair.
It's a cool idea. But, not as its own feature, but as a single mount. Sure. Sorry, loud there.
And I'm okay with umbrellas as a mount, period. Like if they want to add like umbrellas as like a mount drop, I'd take umbrellas over these weird gross dragon things we got now, like these little like
sad dragons.
They're like they're sad. Like they don't even have cool arms or anything. They're like little T-Rex hands.
I mean, we have awesome dragons in this game. We got amazing dragons in Heavensward. We even got great dragon mounts. Like they're big, they're like awesome, and then you get to ride these like dragons that aren't even baby dragons. They're like, hey, I just like am on a weird diet where I don't eat gluten or anything, and
Icarus
I didn't really grow to my full capacity.
Special dragons.
Yeah, they're just kind of sad little tiny dragons who look kind of malnourished.
Yeah, I mean, like look about like we had ponies that were cool looking. The wolves were the wolves were amazing.
Like, I liked the birds. I actually was a big fan of the
birds.
The birds
were great too.
Yeah, I didn't love the wolves personally. Actually, the wolves were not a draw for me. I don't have a single wolf because I didn't love them. But the birds and the horses, I loved those. So now the dragons, like if they'd have just made the dragons like a third bigger, cool.
Well, maybe they heard your feedback and now we're going to get umbrellas instead of derpy dragons.
Oh my God. Could you imagine if the next mount you have to farm for, instead of like from horses to like wolves and eagles to dragons to umbrellas, guys? You're going to farm for some umbrellas.
Parasol mounts, yeah.
I got my it's my pink parasol, guys. It's a great day.
I don't even think they should be mounts. They should just be outdoor housing items.
What would the ultimate umbrella be? Like once you collected all the umbrellas and you turn them in for your ultimate awesome gold umbrella, like what would that be?
They all assemble into a Power Rangers-esque Gundam thing.
That's way cooler than they would do. I feel like it would just
raincoat?
It'd be a raincoat. Yes, it'd be like so super lame. You'd be like, no, you know what it'd be? It'd be one of those hats that like is actually an umbrella attached to it, and you'd get like this hat umbrella thing, and then it would like,
Does
like,
it have the spinny thing?
The spinny thing on top.
It would spin when you fly. That's
that
how
would
you
be the
fly.
difference. Yes,
spins.
and be sad.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
You're like, I would do it for that.
I'm okay for that. I'm down for that. Also to mention, with the Crystal Exarch, I'm kind of with Pete. I don't think it's Warrior of Light related. I think it might be Crystal Tower related, because he does have a strong connection with the Crystal Tower.
Okay.
And like he draws power from it. So I wonder if they're going to merge worlds, like if they're going to use that power, and he can sense it coming.
And we do see in the trailer there is a moment where you kind of see the stone kind of like growing, and like we don't see it growing, but you see him going like ow, and then you hear like the crunching kind of sound of it growing up his arm. So there is definitely like it's taking over him more.
I also think it could be somehow he's going to have to make some sort of sacrifice to be able to get our souls back to or not ours, because the Warrior Lights can go wherever, but to get the Scion souls back to their body, he has to do something.
Well, that was his intent in the beginning.
Yeah.
To kill himself, to send us back.
Maybe that's happening.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe.
Because we see Y'shtola and Sid running around together in this trailer. How do they get back together?
I agree. I feel like if they do that, that's not as strong of storytelling as it could be, because he was already willing to sacrifice himself. So him being like, I was willing to sacrifice myself before, but you stopped me, and now I'm going to do it to save you is not really super impressive.
And I've kind of said for a while, I think Square Enix is really good at expansions, story-wise. The in-between stuff, not so great. And they usually bring it home with the end, the finale.
Yeah.
But the middle stuff is kind of lacking.
Kind of like Star Wars.
Well, remember the lady who wrote this expansion, I hope she's writing the middle content as well. I do too. Because she did such a great job starting it off that I hope her idea, because after we did this first, I'm taking up a lot of time for Chili, but that's fine. After we did this part, like in the beginning, it's not my show. They can kick me off whenever.
It's the show after the live letter. This is always a long episode.
So after we did that initial part in 5.0, we finished, it would make sense that only for us to be back over where we are is to start melding the two worlds, or have some sort of reason that we're still there. Because right now it's kind of like, all right, well, why are we still here? Like, we kind of figured it out. Other than to bring the Scions back, why are we still here? We brought night and we brought the darkness back. It's gone, right? Like, we figured it out. So to me, it's all about now blending the two stories, right? Like, now maybe Xenos knows something. And remember, we still have another Ascian out there. So we have one Ascian left.
One more to go.
And we have Xenos. And Xenos might be like, I know what's happening. Like, I'm gonna try to gain true power. For me, Garlemald is losing on all fronts. So what is Garlemald's best idea? Go invade another world and take it over there.
That would be interesting. I do think Xenos, whatever Xenos has planned, is gonna. I hope it's really interesting, because he only cares about himself.
That's true.
And it'll be really interesting to see, other than his own personal desire to feel, which is honestly kind of what it felt like in Stormblood, to see what it is that he cares about for himself now. He's got his glorious booty back.
To me, it's always been power. So I wonder if I can gain more power by traveling and traversing to new worlds.
See, I didn't think it was power before, because I felt like he had all this power, and fighting us allowed him to like feel, even if the feeling was defeat. He was like happy about it.
I think he didn't want to die a virgin, and he came back.
And so now he knows that the Crystal Arcs are like, maybe the Crystal Arcs down. He's like, maybe I'll go over there.
Maybe, yeah.
Wants that crystal dick.
Yeah, Xeno Thussy and that crystal dick. I get it.
All the art. Let's see all the fan art. Some farts.
All the fart.
All right.
Well, thank you so much, Pete.
No problem. Thank you, Pete.
There you go. I was like, you got to say it the other way.
Pete and Pete.
I'll see you online.
Sounds good. All right. Bye.
Bye.
And now we will be bringing in Chili. Chili, you wanted to talk about some of the Eden raid.
So we're slightly moving down to the very next line of our outline.
What do you want to say about Eden?
Oh, I can't wait for the new raid. I'm looking forward. I'm so happy you got that right anyway. I'm looking forward to the Ifrit and Garuda combo.
Nice.
I hope they do it well.
I'm hoping they merge like halfway through and they do like fire tornadoes.
That sounds dirty. Sounds dirty.
We're gonna get an Ifrit and Garuda sex scene for transition.
Sounds dirty.
Sure, why not? It'll still be shorter than the Eden transition, so.
So, Chili, there's a super important question I need to ask you right now. It's from Susan Sprinkle in chat. What are you more hyped for? The new raid set or umbrellas?
Now, if they can confirm different types of umbrellas, I'm going to go with umbrellas.
Wow. All right.
I've beaten raids. I haven't beaten an umbrella yet. So.
Oh my. So of the new raids that we've seen pictures of, which one do you think is going to be more fun?
Fun? I think it's going to be Ramu Saxixian because of all the orbs. Go collect all those orbs.
You like grabbing the balls?
Gonna be another fun one
blue balls.
to try to explain to pugs.
I made a Pete joke.
I'm expecting Garuda and Ifrit to be the Wall in Savage, so I'm not looking forward to that in a way. I am looking forward to it because it's going to be a fun fight, but it's going to be such a pain.
So do you think, I think we're going to get Ifrit and Garuda first, and then we're going to get Ramu and Ixi. Which one do you think is going to be like the harder ones?
I think Ramu's the last one because the weapons look kind of Ramu-ish.
Yeah.
So Ramu is probably going to be the last one. Whether there's going to be a transition, like Titan had the small, you had your normal Titan, and then Savage you had Big Titan.
Yes.
So.
That's a really good point. That the actual perception of the boss of people who didn't do Savage, like Titan was just as you saw him on the arena fighting him, and then when you did the Savage version of him, he became large, like off the arena. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
See, I didn't do it, but like that, I actually liked
kind of like Sephiroth.
But I felt like it gave it like more of a reason to, because Savage is just like, oh, I beat the same fight that's more difficult to get better gear. But if it's I beat the same fight that's more difficult, but the fight is actually slightly different, is more appealing.
Yeah, that's why I like those ones, like with Kefka turning into God Kefka, X-Dev turning into Neo X-Dev through the space vagina.
Wait, what?
that's what it looks like. If anyone wants to transition, he like opens like a and he pops out of it.
And he pops out of it.
The leading cause of statics.
My goodness.
Look, just look up the X-Def to Neo X-Def. You'll understand what I mean.
Icarus in chat is predicting Shiva as the surprise fourth boss. What do you think about that, Chili?
That'd be interesting, but I don't know.
I feel like they're going to save more to use.
I actually realized I really like that they're reusing these bosses. I am actually more interested in these fights than I was the last raid set.
I'm surprised by the Ixion one, because Ixion wasn't a primal we did. That was a fate, right?
Yeah, but he was a summon in Fantasy X, so technically he's an old primal.
It makes sense. I was surprised at how short Ramu's beard got.
They were just like, let's merge anything with lightning together.
I'm just happy that that's the one I got right, because I did say that Ramu and Ixion would probably be merged.
Are you just trying to like fight against Pete and be like, hey, Pete, I was right too? Is that what that was?
Yeah.
It's okay, Pete. It's okay, Chili. You're right. Pete's right. You guys are made for each other. I don't know what I'm even doing here.
We also saw like a flock of birds that we were fighting for the raid.
Yeah, the seagull boss. It's the Mugugaran raid.
So that's probably going to be an original boss. So I don't know if we can predict what name that would be or anything like that.
Right. It was beautiful. Jeff.
We're fighting Jeff. My name's Jeff.
Yeah.
Mine. I do think Jeff is going to be the first fight. I predict Jeff is going to be first. Then we're going to do Ifrit and Garuda, and then it'll be Ramu and Ixion, and then our surprise fourth fight.
Surprise fourth boss, huh?
Yeah, I don't think they would do Shiva as a surprise because Shiva's like such a draw. I mean that booty. Yeah. She was the first thong we really got. Like once we didn't have.
People are predicting that Shiva might be a merge of. I never say her name right. Ysel. The original, the original form.
Oh, that would be cool.
I don't want to fight Ysel.
But Ysel was...
That's what's to make it worse. Yeah, to make it emotional.
Yeah, that would be cool. Make me cry. Come on, Square Enix, I challenge you.
Though I also then added, what if Hoshafont was like, you got to defend him?
I would love it if they brought him back in some weird way. I like people would be pissed, but I would love it.
Because we have so many memories of Shiva and Hoshafont from back then that it wouldn't be surprised if we don't somehow merge the two.
The fourth boss is called Emotional Torture. Enjoy.
Yoshi P said that Fantasy 14 at Realm Reborn, you knew Ramu. You played starting at Shadowbringers, you thought Stormblood, you think of Ixion. Why don't we merge the two?
I like it. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Anything else you want to add, Chili, before we actually try to...
I think the fourth boss is going to be an original.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it's going to be from Final Fantasy 8. I think that not this tier, but next tier is going to... one of the bosses is going to be Ultimisia. That's for certain.
Okay.
And this tier, I think we're going to get Griever.
Well, I haven't beat it yet, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
He's like, I'm getting there. I'm luring myself up every Sunday morning while I stream older Final Fantasy games. Pete is playing Final Fantasy VIII every Sunday morning. Plug.
Yeah, go check them out on Sunday.
I was shameless. I was doing a shameless Chili plug while Chili was here. I thought that was pretty meta of me.
That was. Also, remember that Maelstrom Radio will be streaming this Sunday as well as they do a choose your own adventure.
Ooh, fun. What time?
Some sort of time zone. I don't know.
Time zones are good.
You should know better to ask Chili that.
How dare I?
Look, if I say it my time, I think it's 1 a.m. my time.
No one knows what that
Do
means.
the math.
That was 2.5 hours ago.
He's in Britain, formerly part of the EU.
My gosh, honey, it's so late. So about 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Pacific Standard Time.
American time.
All right, so.
All right, thank you, Chili, so much. Have a
so
good
many
rest
things to go
of
through.
your
I'm
night.
not trying to kick you off, but we have a lot
One thing
of stuff.
I have to do before I go, and I will drop. Though I spends me time in the ashes and smoke, in this all wild world, there's no happier bloke. Go enjoy your umbrellas. Bye.
What just happened?
I have no idea.
I feel like someone dared Chili to do that, and it was glorious. It was amazing, and I don't understand.
Good job, Chili. Howard likes it.
Susan Sprinkle said that it was Maelstrom Radio Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so it's a half hour later than we are right now.
All right.
Be there and be square.
That counts as the community roundup.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so
now we got like little bits to try to give you guys.
Let's go through the
because we're already at a year and a half.
Let's go through the pictures we got. So there
Pete's like, I downloaded these photos. We are gonna show them.
You're
Damn
like,
it!
we're gonna do pictures, right? I'm like, I guess I can. So what do you think about this picture, Ravi?
I think he's sexy Ramusian.
This is Ramu and Ixion
It's
combined.
Ramusian.
Is his dong between his front 2 legs or his back 2 legs?
He's a centaur. It's the back 2 legs.
I did not know that.
It's a horse. Where is their dong?
But it's kind of a human too.
But it's not because
so it'd be like the front 2
that
legs.
part. Even Icarus, like chat's like Ivory Miss said both. I'd say back, horse half. The lower half is the horse half.
But it is that a horse dong?
Yes.
Ixion dong.
It's a.
You get shocked when you get that nut.
Oh my god. Okay.
And then here's some artwork of him.
It's so tiny. It's
I don't know if I like it.
It's hard to tell from this. It's kind of tiny. I like the red on his
still
wings.
talking about his dong.
You're talking about his dong. And I like how it like matches with the colors of his staff. Damn it.
I think it's because I just don't really like centaurs that much.
Oh, I do. I liked in the magicians that they're like the doctors and stuff. Like I don't know, I like centaurs. I think they're cool.
Because it looks like he should be riding a horse, but he's not.
Because he is
He's a horse.
He's fucking awesome. Who shoots lightning out of his magnificent beard.
Nothing. Yeah, I'm much more into Ifrit.
Well, Ifrit looks
with those
way
giant ass horns.
What's so great about those horns is they're almost like deer-like, and a lot of times I feel like with the horns or something like that, they go more ram-like, and so it's really cool to see like the elegant lines of like the deer antler instead of the ram horn, and I think it's just really cool looking. It adds a lot. It adds so much.
And
to
it
his character
isn't.
design,
Yeah, it isn't just the typical like devil horns.
which is a ram generally.
Are they?
Yeah, that's more of a ram.
Wasn't he like a goat?
Or a goat. Rams and goats are kind of the same family, where like an elk or a deer have like the larger, longer.
And then we have a Garuda with some extra wings.
She's got 8 wings.
Some nice thighs.
It's hard for me to see. It's so tiny. There it is. Yeah, I'm not as excited about her design as I thought I was going to be. I was really
It
excited
definitely
to see
does
how-
not look as cool as Ifrit.
Well, she feels very true to the original. Very, very true to the original. Like, I feel like they took same Garuda, redesigned her like with better graphics, but same Garuda, and then gave her more wings. And I wish they'd have done more to her.
I wish they would have swapped up the genders. And then we have an in-game photo of both of them together. And I think she actually looks better in-game than she did in the piece of artwork we got.
Yeah. But the way that the angle that you see some of her wings, she looks almost spider-like, which is also interesting because they gave her 8 wings.
Kind of like Doc Ock.
Yep, true. But it is a better angle.
Yeah, and I think this is the fight I'm most excited for.
Yeah.
I think it will be 3.
Really?
And I think 4 is going to be a surprise.
Oh, so you think we're going to get the Ramu Ixion as 2?
I think this is going to be 2. It's my prediction. Wild speculation.
I hope so, because I would like this to be the more difficult one.
And yeah, I think it's just more interesting when you actually have two separate mobs.
Yeah.
Instead of...
Ian, there was already a sex joke down earlier that you must have missed about whether or not they're going to merge during the second phase of the fight. So we don't know.
There's gonna be some primal fucking.
No, there's not.
All right, Avi. This is your cue. Raid gear. Look at the picture. What do you think about this raid gear?
It's okay.
What do you like? Do you think you like those eye patches?
I mean, it looks again it's not reskins, but it looks like again like the last gear they kind of released, where it looks like they took like 3 different gear sets and kind of mashed them together and made like, look, it's new gear.
Little purplish like Ramu.
I like the little skirt front on the scholar chest piece, but I don't really like the shoulders.
I like the tank gear in this, actually.
I mean, he looks very paladin-y.
Yeah.
I know he's a warrior, but he looks very paladin-y. None like the strappy. None of this feels fresh or new to me, I guess. Like,
I don't think they're going to be able to add anything that looks fresh or new to you.
I think so. Like, well, I mean, like this hat shape has been done. This coat shape has been done. These boots have been done. Like, it just, none of it
You're going to need something like Avant-Garde Fashion Week for it to be new to you.
Oh my God, if they did that, that would be freaking amazing. Like, who is ever excited about the new dungeon release gear anymore? Like, unless it was actually like a player designed gear, that's when it's good, because that's when you get a different perspective in it. When it's designed by the same guys, it's got the same feel.
All right. Avi's not excited about the gear.
This is the Tombstone gear, says Icarus. I don't love it.
That's the Tombstone gear? I heard it was the raid
wolf
gear.
gear was amazing, Fenris. I will give you that, but I do think, wasn't that based off of a design? That one? Was that a design, the wolf one? I think that was actually based off of one of the designs that won. So, yeah, the contest winner stuff is always better. The dungeon gear is going to be a reskin of the Shire gear, which we predicted from the previous pictures that we saw. This is just, I don't love any of it. Like, yeah. I like
the tank gear.
What we don't have a picture of that I do like is that for the gear design contest, I can't think of the words for that, the one they chose is actually one of my favorites, which is more of the steampunk vibe.
What are you talking about? We have a picture of that later. I told you.
Don't listen to you. But I am excited for that. I think that gear is really cool and fresh and has a fun new feel to it.
The next thing we do have a picture of is Ruby Weapon. And he's got some big old feet to stomp you with.
He does have some big old feet.
I have not played Final Fantasy VII.
His head is so tiny.
So I have no idea if this is accurate to Final Fantasy VII. It seems like all the Final Fantasy VII players are pretty happy with the way it looks.
So clumpy.
So I think it is pretty true to 7.
Chili says, looks like it. He needs a pedicure and a manicure.
So that's the artwork we're looking at right now. And then we have an in-game picture. And I think this looks like part of the trailer where he was taken off and flying.
Yep.
And I still think there is going to be a transition in the middle of this fight where he turns into something different, for the sole fact of the t-shirt that they're giving away at PAX East. They're not showing us the design.
They did show it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Sorry.
Did it look like that?
Pretty much.
Why didn't they show us early then? Fuck them. And we have a picture of us fighting Ruby Weapon. You get a...
That's an awkward angle.
You get a good look of his feet again.
There's a little awkwardness in between the legs in that shot.
Where is Ruby Weapon's ding dong?
Right there.
And then I don't think we have anything really to add to the Ruby Weapon. We know we're gonna have a normal and extreme version of it.
What is this?
This is part of the
Sorry, Susan. She saw it too. I saw it, like, oh, okay.
This next picture is part of what they're calling Save the Queen, Blades of Gunhildr, which is going to be coming with patch 5.25, and it's going to be the Relic quest.
Oh, okay, cool.
And we did get a little update to the patch 5.2 special site, and the blurb for this reads, "For years, Bosja, homeland of the Hrothgar, has remained at the mercy of Garlean rulers. But the Empire has fallen into disarray, and the people of Doma and Alamigo have risen up to challenge their authority. The Bosjans, well heartened at this news, lack the means to join the rebellion. To that end, They seek a standard under which their people may gather. A weapon of legend.
Ooh.
So yeah, this is going to require completion of the Return to Ivalice Alliance questline, which is the 24-man Alliance raid.
Which you should do
from
anyways.
Stormblood. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is.
Story involves freeing Bosja from the 4th Imperial Legion, and this is going to have a secret trial boss. That's the unknown trial. I had speculated that it was going to be Hildebrand.
Nope.
So I think this means I'm most likely wrong.
You're very wrong.
Unless somehow...
Everyone's saying Gabranth.
Unless somehow he's going to help us.
Nope. You're wrong, Pete.
Yeah?
You're just wrong.
Yeah? You think it's Hildebrand?
I love you, but you're just wrong.
And another picture we got is of Geralt. So obviously it's going to be the relic weapon because he always helps us with the relic weapon.
That's his deal. He's a little intoxicated and he makes really good weapons.
Finishing the scenario is the only requirement for the base weapons. We'll continue in 5.35 with a new field instance and its own leveling system. Not another Eureka, but Eureka influences. So I think it goes back to what they said
That actually worried me when they said, don't worry, it's not another Eureka, but it is influenced by Eureka. And I'm like,
well,
in what
that's what
way?
they told us before. They said it's not going to be like only leveled in Eureka. You're going to be able to do like a Eureka type zone or
I'm
outside.
curious, like what a lot like there's a large group of people there's a group of people that really enjoy Eureka, and there's also a group of people that really don't enjoy Eureka, and then there's like, don't worry, it's not another Eureka but has Eureka influences, and I want to know what influences they took from that, because I'm worried that the influences they took from that is another instanced area that you go and we don't get any more open world content. And what I really want,
I think they've already said that there's going to be a place like that, but it's not going to be like you have to go in there.
Right, but that's, I don't know. I just really want to see what it's like, because I personally wasn't a huge fan of Eureka, so I want to see what pieces of Eureka they took.
If they can make it so I can level it outside of that zone, but return to that zone to do a Baldessian Arsenal type thing, I would love that.
They did comment on like the success and the enjoyment of the Baldessian Arsenal elements of it. I wasn't willing to put the effort in to get to it.
Yeah, neither was I, but I still want to do it. So if the next one makes it not necessarily easier, just not make me go to Eureka,
makes it more approachable.
Yeah, it makes it less boring, in my opinion.
Makes it more approachable because it was.
Let me do open world content. Let me do some books.
Say that you never did it.
And the last picture we have is your gear, Avi. This is the one. I took the original drawing from the person who won the contest.
Yep.
And then the picture that they showed on the live letter.
The only thing I don't like in contrast is that the female gear, the skirt, like kind of wrapped around the legs, which I think really added to the aesthetic of like a Victorian skirt for a steampunk outfit, and instead they made it kind of like
they covered up the underwear,
a cape, yeah, with ruffles. It's not as iconic as the drawing was. I don't think they understood how much that added to the historical relevance of it, in it that it's being a Victorian piece mixed with steampunk. Like that's what steampunk is, you know. And it needed to curl around the legs to have that kind of feel. It's a butt cape. Thank you, Icarus. Yeah, they made a butt cape instead of a Victorian shaped skirt. So that's, other than that, like the rest of the changes of it I'm okay with, but like and that is a big deal. Like I honestly probably won't wear the chest piece because they took that away. If they'd have left that piece, I'd have worn it for sure.
You know what I find odd about the live letter though? They have slides, like PowerPoint slides, nice graphics and stuff. Why don't they make a graphic for this gear instead of just holding a piece of paper up to the camera and making me screenshot it?
Because it's more fun this way. Chili says could be engine limits. Honestly, Chili, I think it's that they took an existing model of a gear set and they did the design overlays on what they already had without having to create a new overlay for the gear, which would create a new shape of the legs. I do think they could have done it because they've done full skirts and they've done partial skirts, but instead they've even done like coats with the front. Like they chose to do it that way versus.
Well, I don't know any historical significance of old Victorian or whatever. I think the design they went with looks better actually.
Male or female?
The female. I wasn't that into that one. I think it
No.
looks weird with that white showing underneath.
It's not the white. The white part's not the part I'm talking about. The part where the ruffles wrap around the legs. That's the part that I'm missing.
To me, I'm fine with it.
Go back to it is white underneath it. It looks exactly the same right there. They just didn't wrap the skirt around properly. That's it. But everything else looks really cool.
I think that's it for the pictures we have.
I think from like a glamour perspective, it's nice to not only see glamours that look differently, but that are also like shaped differently slightly. Like skirts that have a different shape instead of just another long skirt, another short skirt, another, like there was something different about it. So that's what I really liked. So the fact that they didn't keep that element lost a bit of the uniqueness.
I think we should go with metal bikinis, personally.
We have those.
We do?
Yes. Those are like 2.0 days. Coliseum gear, babe. Metal bikini. You're done. Boom.
Let's
go.
get some more of that.
All right. So going back to just some points that we got from the live letter. In regards to the main scenario quests, we did find out that the cutscenes are going to be longer, which I think is great, which means we're going to get more story. But that also means that we need to make sure that you set a good amount of time, is how they described it, aside for them. And that the new dungeon we get is going to be in the second half of the cutscene, and that you will actually be able to use the trust system in it. So that's really cool that even if you do it really late, you'll be able to use your trust and not have to wait for a queue.
Yeah, every dungeon that they've added so far has been able to use the trust system, and I think that's going to be how it is going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I like the longer cutscenes. Honestly, I could have a MSQ that's basically a movie.
It is basically a movie.
Where I don't have to do anything and I can just watch it. Like, I hate, like, we've had some previous MSQs where it's just like, run here, run there, run there. And you're not getting a lot of story. They're just taking up your time having to travel to all these different places.
That's like 2.0 stuff you're talking about.
I'm like,
really
I much prefer you just show me an episode of TV. Give me an hour of something just to watch. I would be fine with that.
Pete, Chili just said that's called YouTube.
No.
Or Netflix.
Because YouTube is always like, how we have it, you got to travel around and you get it cut. I just want to be able to sit back and relax and watch they always compare it to like a season of TV. I'm like, well, give me an episode.
So in regards to the new trial, Pete already showed the pictures, but we didn't mention that it's Sorrow of Wurlit, which releases with Cinder Drift Extreme.
We've talked about that a lot.
But we didn't talk about the fact that this is going to be something that Gaius has experienced in the past, so we're going to be getting some of his backstory, which is really cool to tie that in together.
Yeah, so this is something that Gaius has worked on in the past, I believe, and he feels it's going to be his duty to stop it. Gaius going to die?
Yeah, but we're not going to be getting this necessarily in the
Gaius'
trial.
death?
In 5.2, it'll probably be more like 5.25.
Dead Gaius, you think?
Pete, I'm trying to get through this content. We still have a lot to get through, and this podcast are going really long, honey.
But I want to know if you think Gaius is going to die.
I don't care.
Oh, good content, Avi.
I don't care if he dies. So he probably will, because they're going to think that they're killing somebody that makes me feel, and it doesn't make me feel, because I don't care if Gaius dies.
The first trial, the Ruby Wurlit, will launch at 5.2. The second trial won't launch until later on.
Okay.
The mystery trial.
All right. So we are getting some waymarker changes and some additional third-party tools that we'll be able to use when you're doing like trials and everything, which is really cool. They've increased the number of waymarkers that we have to 8. And but the thing is that you can no longer place them during combat for PvE. But what they're going to do instead is that you can like create preset locations for the waymarkers, and then you can like change the preset locations during the fight, and you can actually share those with other players. So it's almost like kind of like a theme, like a setup, and then you can save 5 of those presets available. And I think this is really, really cool idea.
So yeah, this is in response to a third-party tool or plugin for ACT that people were using in Raid, where you could press a button and it would automatically put out all the way markers, and you could do it at transitions into the fight, so you'd have instant way markers.
It was always difficult to be like, okay, well, we want to put the way markers there, but when this transition happens, we need them there. So you kind of had to like compromise and remember half the marks and half the other ones not. So I think this is a really good addition to the game.
Well, you're not going to be able to do that with this.
It's, from the way I understood it, is that you could change it throughout the fight, but it was to another preset.
No.
Okay.
You will not be able to change any markers during battle. You'll have to wipe, and then you can reset them.
Oh.
The presets is like I can have a preset for this fight. I can have a preset for another fight.
Okay. So I interpreted. I understood that incorrectly. I
Yeah.
apologize.
So they want to design the fights. I think they want to make them more challenging, and part of the challenge is you have to remember where to go.
Right.
They're giving us, 2 more waymarks, so we have a total of 8 now to make it a little bit easier. And I'm okay with this personally. I think I went through this when we talked about that third-party tool that was showing the AoE on the ground. I don't think this is that much of an advantage, but it's still an advantage if you're using it over someone who is not. So that is why I would be against this as well.
I think this is a good change as well.
It's a good change because it gets rid of people being able to use that mid-fight. Because it's an advantage over people not using it.
I agree with that.
And Ishgardian Restoration, this is actually going to come in patch 5.21, which is going to be 3 weeks after 5.2, which is 1 week longer than usual. And I think it took us a little bit longer to get to this patch too. So I don't know if they're a little bit behind schedule or this is just what they planned.
It's okay.
New expert recipes. We've talked about this before. There's going to be more statuses other than poor, good, and excellent. We don't know what it is. Something that's awesome is you don't have to worry about blowing really expensive materials if you fail a craft.
Right.
Because they are adding items, I guess, that you can use for practice. And you can buy those for 300 apiece. So you buy these 300 gil materials and you're going to be able to practice a craft to get your rotation down. Or I don't think we're going to be able to macro a rotation, hopefully, for these expert recipes. And you're just going to have to play around with the new statuses that we get. Ishgardian Restoration is going to be mostly focused on gathering, and that's what we have the diadem for. And you're also going to be able to win Kupo of Fortune scratch-off tickets. And they showed this on stream, and there were like 5 tiers of rewards you can get. Kind of similar to the Wondrous Tales. And then there was a left side of the ticket. And if you scratched off that left side, you were guaranteed the 2, 3, or 4 ranks. So you couldn't win the best or the worst rank. And then there were 3 on the other side, and I think you only get to scratch 1. And you can win any of the rewards if you scratch off that one. So if you want a shot at whatever the tier 1 reward is, you have to scratch off from the right side. And the rewards that I saw, the tier 1 both times, looked like a minion to me. It looked like a Piazza with a little chef hat. And
Cute.
then there were some so-so rewards, materia. One of them did look to be like an emote book, one that you pop. It could be emote, could be a dance, whatever. So I didn't hear what it was going to take to get them. I imagine it's going to be some of these scripts that you get from gathering, and you just turn them in for scratch-offs.
There is going to be a new mount that you get. Am I jumping or
no?
And honestly, I remember when it's the giraffe. I honestly can't think of the name
of
it.
The Dommel?
The Dommel mount. Yeah, like I remember when that was added to game. I think I've mentioned on the podcast at some point even as I wonder why is this not a mount? This should be a mount.
You ever tried to hop up on a giraffe?
They have a very small booty
Fucking
and very
difficult.
big shoulders and a long neck. But I do think it would have been, I've thought for a while it'd be a really cool looking mount. So it's really cool to see this added. And then we kind of talked about before that the new emote, eating bread, where we actually look like we're eating something instead of pulling something out of our pocket, is added to the game. And I'm hoping that they can take some of these emotes and like, I don't know, make them flow into the game for things that we do. I think that'd be really cool.
As long as I'm still keeping my bread in my ass. There is going to be a ranking system for this. Unfortunately, for me at least, it's only going to last 10 days. And I feel like when I work a whole week, I'm not going to have that much time to put into this. So I'm probably not going to get on the rankings. You know, if it lasted a month, I could probably dedicate a couple days to like really grind it out. But when it's only 10 days, I don't think I'm going to be on that ranking list.
That's fair.
Diadem we talked about is going to be part of the Ishgardian Restoration. You only have to be level 17 to enter this, so that's a good move.
Disciple of the Land, and you do not require the Cerulean tank anymore, and there are no aggressive mobs. That's pretty great.
I still feel like this is going to be dead as soon as this part of the Ishgardian Restoration is done with.
The fact that they say that it's built so that you move in a circular rotation and that you gain experience and scripts that way, like that makes it sound like it's going to be very boring. To me, that sounds very simplistic.
I mean, that's That's gathering in a nutshell.
I guess I guess you're right. It is. So there's a new system called Augur that lets you obtain materials from
that's
creatures.
the proton blaster I was talking about.
Proton blaster is a horrible description for that. Like a taser or something, at least. Like he shoots. Because a proton blaster...
It fucking blasted it.
But a proton blaster, if it's a Ghostbuster, it like shoots out a beam of light and the light stays there. And then they drag the ghost into the freaking like trap.
Okay, imagine that. But instead of doing that, blows them up.
That's a bazooka.
Proton bazooka.
There you go. All right.
So that auger system is going to be like a limit break bar, and it builds up while you're gathering, and then you can use your proton bazooka to blow up some mobs and get some more gathering material.
So what kind of fish do you think you're going to be able to catch in the cloud fishing available?
I don't care about cloud fishing. Cloud fishing is something we already have. It's going to be some weird-ass flying fish.
Okay.
I'm all about ocean fishing, baby.
Well, we're not there yet.
Yes, because there's going to be Disciple of Hand and Land relic tools for the first time ever.
Which you've been asking for a really long time.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have something that you actually upgrade instead of just crafting a new piece every time.
Yeah.
And I'm not opposed to like having to craft a bunch for it. But, I like the relic weapons, and I thought it'd be always cool to have one for crafters.
It makes sense.
I always think about crafters more than gatherers, but...
Chat's all excited about ocean fishing. Sorry we mentioned it and then said, but we're not talking about that yet. But no, I think it's cool. I think it's a nice addition because crafting and gathering is something that you can it's kind of a solo endeavor. And the relic weapon, for the most part, is kind of a solo endeavor. And so it's cool to take that idea and make it for the weapons for the crafters and gatherers.
And they say stats will not be better than fully melded tools for now, which is kind of also parallel to the relic weapon. Like, it's a good weapon when you're at a specific tier, but it usually doesn't get to be the best weapon until the very last tier of the game.
Right. All right, so now we're going to talk about some ocean fishing, guys.
Which I think is going to be the best gathering part of this patch.
I know.
Unfortunately.
Why do you say unfortunately?
Because that means I don't think Ishgard's going to have any legs.
Oh.
It's going to die after... whenever you complete it, whether that's in 10 days. How sad is it going to be like if we complete that tier of Ishgard before the 10 days is up, and then people are only doing it to get on that ranking board or only doing it to level?
Chat's like excited. Susan and Jilly are like, woo, ocean fishing. And Pete's like, rah, rah, rah.
No, I think it's going to be the best gathering content in the game.
I know, but they're excited. You're like, talk about the excited thing. And you're like, I'm going to talk about all these things I'm disappointed in first. Old man, rah.
Talk about old.
Yes, you. All right. So the cool thing is that there's 24 players that can do the ocean fishing at a time. So that's what one of the translations we read. But when I read it, I thought that they said they tested it with 24 players, but that there could be more than 24 players in it. So this I don't know that I believe what these notes say that we got from Reddit. But so what it is that you go to Limsa and there's an NPC that will allow you to board. And you can board a ship every 2 hours, and it will leave after 15 minutes, and you can queue as a party. I thought that they'd said they tested it with 24 players, but that, there could be more. So I'm kind of curious to see what the difference in this, because again, these notes are saying 24 player limit.
Yeah, I heard 24 as well.
As the limit, or that they tested it?
As the limit.
Okay.
I didn't hear about testing. I don't remember reading that.
I heard that. Okay.
It seems to me like 24 is a good amount for the size of the boat that they previewed. You definitely wouldn't want like 50 people and people pushing each other. I mean, not that there's any
that would be more like ocean fishing.
There's no character collision in this game. You just run through each other.
Yeah.
But
Susan says 400 people on a boat. So there are going to be 3 separate fishing grounds available, and each route has 3 fishing spots that it moves through, and the color of the sea will change.
I actually think it's really cool that it seems like they put effort into it to make it look interesting as you're going around on this boat.
Uh-huh.
And that it's not just one. There's actually different routes it can go on. It's not a huge thing, but it's...
And Chili has a fun fact. They eventually plan to add pirates for you to fight with while you're fishing, so you can whack them with your fishing pole.
Yeah, how are you gonna fight them off as a fisher?
You're gonna hook them in the face. You're gonna fish hook them.
Oh yeah, Season Sprinkles does mention something. There is going to be unskippable cutscenes.
Yep.
That you will be able to repair, and there will be bait available on the ship, so no need to get that all done in advance, which is nice because it only comes around every 2 hours, real world. So that would suck to get on there and be like, shit, everything's broken and I forgot my bait.
And one thing I did like is that like with fishing, a big thing is like certain conditions being met, and it only takes those conditions being met by one player, and then everyone on the ship receives a chance at a big haul.
Think we can catch a mermaid?
No, but that would be cool. But like, I think that's really cool. So I can see people like kind of trying to offset who like FCs being like, oh, you got those conditions met. You go on this trip and then I'll come with you on that next trip. And we'll kind of stagger who's able to meet those conditions to try to like benefit the group. I can see that being kind of an approach.
So Aurora's saying it's going to be like airships in Final Fantasy XI, that it only comes around every 2 hours.
Yep.
I actually think that's something on this that will be nerfed eventually.
Ooh, Susan just said, can we catch an Amazu? That would be hilarious. I want to see it flap on the freaking deck.
Well, you know how people litter. You're probably going to catch an umbrella.
You should totally be able to catch trash. So there isn't going to be any penalty for leaving early, and there is no level requirement. And again, there's going to be updates, of course, in the future, like new routes, fishing battles like pirates, and stuff like that.
But you know how you could only queue, like in the original Diadem, like if you went in, you couldn't queue for like an hour and a half or something like that.
Right.
And then they eventually nerfed it until you could go in as often as possible. I think that's what's going to happen with this.
Most likely.
I mean,
that was done because less people were queuing for it. So it'll be dependent upon that as well. This is to keep it from getting overloaded when it's first released.
Maybe, but unless like any of these fish are really worth that much, like there's no reason to time gate you.
I think it's intentionally time gated for when it first starts to keep it from getting overloaded, to control the server haul, and then once it dies down a bit, they'll get rid of that.
You'd think if you have instant servers that can handle people on an expansion launch day, you can handle the amount. They
can't though. They've proven time and like that it doesn't. Like when there's something like that, it doesn't.
We're gonna have a fishing extreme.
Yes. That's why they did this. Literally, like, that is my answer. Yes, this is going to be Raubon Extreme for fishing, but in order to offset those issues, you can only board every 2 hours. That's their fix. That's exactly why they did this.
I don't know about that, but it makes sense.
I mean, did you not see the Ishgardian restoration when it first, like, it was nuts.
Yeah, but it handled it.
But it's different. It's not like an instant zone like that. It's like an instant zone, like a city zone where people go and just craft shit.
Yeah, but this is like its own thing. This isn't part of the restoration of Ishgard.
No, but I'm saying like Ishgard was able to handle that many people at once because it was basically like a part of the city. This is not like that. This is like a diadem or like a dungeon or a raid where it can only handle so many people at a period of time. There's only so much space for them to do this. So in order to control that, they limited the time.
All right. I think there's actually plenty of content in this patch that there aren't going to be that many people doing that.
I think everyone's excited for ocean fishing. I think that's what everybody's going to go first.
We need to make a poll. I'm actually really excited for the Qatari, the new beast tribe. I'm excited because I always think they're fun to do. I generally enjoy the story for all the recent ones anyways. The Realm Reborn, not so much. I'm a little bit disappointed because it's gatherers only. And I won't really get anything out of this. Like, I won't get any experience out of this because I already have them all leveled.
Right.
But it is a really good way to level it if you haven't yet.
I do find it interesting that the story splits into 2 paths, but you can only choose one. The rewards are the same for both, but I feel like I want other people to do it first so I can find out which is a better experience without spoilers.
Well, whatever you end up doing, you'll be able to like get the story from someone else. And I don't know if we talked about it.
But I'm saying is I don't want to know the story from somebody else. I want to know which is more fun for me to experience. And if somebody says, oh, go this route, I'll be like, okay, thank you. And I would go that route based on the experience of me doing the quests, not like which is better.
What if they steered you the wrong way?
That's possible, but that's why I would ask somebody I trust.
Yeah, I think they're going to maybe start doing that stuff more option. I know they've experimented with it before when they're just like asking you different options, but normally it always goes to the same end. I'm interested to see if this really goes to a different end or not.
And they added a mount, which I think is going to get a lot of people to do this because the Great Serpent of Ronka is adorable, and that whole storyline was hilarious. And I honestly think that the reason it was added as a mount is because of how much the player base enjoyed it. So that was, in my opinion, a definite like paying attention to the player base and listening to them and finding out what they enjoyed, and knowing that right there would be an incentive for people to do this Beast Tribe, because it's hilarious and it's so funny that it's a mount, and I think that was brilliant of them.
And some other additions, free company rank is going to be increasing to 30. As far as they said, it's only going to increase the size of the company chest.
Which is like about what I expected. I was like, it's going to be something lame. Like, it's not going to be.
Isn't our free company rank right now like 8? They're adding like 22 levels, and
I mean, maybe it's a whole lot of
all we're getting is more size.
It does seem kind of like, we're not going to be able to view fellowships from the companion app, which is like.
Did you say we're not?
We are going to be able to view fellowships from the companion app. So it's kind of like the Lodestone, but just from the app and for in-game too, which is okay, I guess.
And we already talked about umbrellas. They're being added. Demimateria we talked about. You can now save lighting presets for G-Pose. Super exciting. And we already talked about the range DPS contest winner. Maybe the biggest announcement to come from the live letter, though, Avi. FanFest.
Dates and locations.
We got dates and locations. Starting off, kicking it off with FanFest #1, like always, the North American FanFest.
Happening November 6th and 7th.
Previously, always done in Las Vegas, but they said they were outgrowing it.
Yep.
And it is coming to a warm, sunny San Diego, baby.
Our hometown, which is really great because that means we get to stay home and
6th
still go.
and 7th of November.
It's going to be in the same convention center that Comic-Con is held and TwitchCon was held this past year. It's a huge convention center. Honestly, if they take over a third of it, it's still twice as big as the convention center, the convention space we had in Vegas. So you can definitely expect there to be a lot more tickets available for sale, which will be wonderful. So it's going to be great.
So I think when we were looking at the venue 2 years ago for Las Vegas, I think it was at the Rio.
Yeah.
Like the capacity on that hall was like 6,500 or something like that.
Right.
And that's like standing room. So they obviously had a bunch of chairs. So it wasn't 6,000 people, and like half the room was games and stuff. So I would imagine that there were maybe like 4,000 to 5,000 people there. And just so you have an idea, like the capacity of the convention center during Comic-Con is like 120,000.
Well, but the difference is like, so the San Diego Comic-Con is like they do rooms where there's different halls where you sit and you watch videos. And so what I'm wondering is if they're going to keep it in like multiple spaces, and they're going to be like, hey, we're doing the presentation time. Everyone head over to this hall and watch it because there's seats set up there. And then they're also going to have the convention center floor, which is where like at Comic-Con they have the booths and you walk around and there aren't seats. But I know that at TwitchCon on the floor, they actually kind of set up some areas with seats and projection screens and stuff and kept it all kind of together, which I hope they don't do it that way because I feel like it'll be a little bit convoluted. So I'm really going to be curious to see how they utilize the space and how many people they plan on selling tickets to, essentially.
Yeah, so the way they had it blocked off for TwitchCon, I think the capacity on that was about 28,000.
Yeah.
So if they did that, you know, TwitchCon had a lot of wasted space with like the registration area, which made it go really quickly, which was nice.
Yeah.
But there was like nothing going on there after that.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to have it as big as TwitchCon. But yeah, there's so many different ways to get whatever you need out of that convention center.
Klaus from Phoenix Down says it all depends on how much of the space they reserve. What I'm curious is, I'm curious how much space they reserve, but I'm also curious as to which spaces they reserve, because I do think it would be really cool if they like did Ballroom 20 or like one of the big like halls where there's they need one of the spaces where there's a lot of seating, because that's a huge part of FanFest, is being able to sit and watch the videos and the primals and the stuff like that, and the main convention floor doesn't really lend itself to that kind of a presentation. So I'm just curious how they're planning on like using the San Diego Convention Center, because it's a space that Pete and I are very, very familiar with. We go to Comic-Con every year, and so we see how it can be used to max capacity, and we went to TwitchCon where it's like half capacity. So I'm really excited to see what Square Enix does with it.
I think they're just going to have the convention floor. If you're at the very end, you can block off a third of it. That's going to be the seating and where all the presentation stuff gets done. And then like outside of that can be all the games and stuff that they have going on.
And so one thing that is really exciting about San Diego the convention center there is that it's located downtown. So for doing events outside of the actual convention itself, it's real easy. You just like walk downtown and there's just all of San Diego downtown right there. So it's pretty darn cool. And Cater Pence says that all he knows is that his hotel is a bear-friendly place, which is important.
Okay. The other locations, the second Fan Fest is going to be in Nagoya, Japan at the Aichi Sky Expo on December 19th and 20th, 2020. And then the third one, the last one's going to be in London, UK at the XL London on February 20th and 21st, 2021.
So Chili just said, I'm looking for the nearest Wendy's also. There actually isn't one nearby downtown. But, you know, if you know somebody who lives close by and has a super awesome scooter, she might be willing to pick you up something on the way in.
So yeah, we'll definitely talk about more about the San Diego Fan Fest as it comes up. We still got a lot of time before then.
Yes. We're working with other people to try to put together some fun stuff. So please stay tuned, you guys. If you're not following us on Twitter yet, please, She Heals I Tank on Twitter. I promise we'll be sharing some really cool stuff because we are the locals. Super fun.
So that's it for the live letter initial reactions. I'm sure we're going to talk about more about this last week because we're going to have one more podcast before the patch hits, I believe.
Yep.
So let's get to a community roundup, partner. And I don't see anyone on deck to plug anything they got going on. But
please don't. It's a long podcast and I'm tired.
Our friend Mocha Jones texted us earlier since he couldn't make it in and said, doubt I'll be able to make it on, but could I get a shout out on the community roundup for almost being an affiliate on Twitch.
Hashtag shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
I actually didn't expect you to read his direct text, Pete. This was literally just me putting a reminder to give Mocha Jones 10 a plug.
So Mocha Jones 10 raises a lot of money for Extra Life. And
seriously, like all of his streaming is to raise money.
And he's been doing that all without having been an affiliate. So it'd be
nice.
So
much baby food.
Be nice if he was able to break that threshold and become an affiliate. So give twitch.tv/MochaJones10 a follow.
So what does he need to become an affiliate? Just a few more followers?
No, he has the followers, but he needs over 3 concurrent viewers for a month.
Oh, so you guys gotta watch him. Come on, that's not hard. Mocha Jones 10. Let's check him out.
And then, of course, we have Chili, who called in earlier, who does Moogle Go Round Radio. And we had Pete from Maelstrom Radio call in earlier. So thank you guys for calling in. Check out Maelstrom Radio and Moogle Go Round.
And as always, we want to thank the Final Fantasy XIV subreddit Discord for their translations, as well as the Balance Discord for their translations of the live letter, for helping us get all of that information and being able to deliver it to you guys on our podcast.
Yeah, you can find that Reddit Discord by just going to reddit.com/r/FFXIV and hit their little Discord button.
Yes. And then, you're going to read Chili's tweet?
Listener reaction.
I thought that's what you were doing.
Look, me and Vegan Pete got Max on the event, and he was talking about the Valentine's Day event where me and him got kindred spirits, and we got 1% better than you and Hyper Pixie did.
Well, that's because Pixie got excited when the door opened and she ran away, and I was like, no, I opened the door.
Well, we got excited too.
But we still got kindred spirits as well. We just got 95, I guess, instead of 96. Oh my gosh. Next we have from @the0uno says, in regard to someone trying to find an FC and trying to like find their home in the game, and they said, I hope you find it, and thank you to Susan Sprinkles and She Heals I Tank for letting me join the FC. Gilgamesh is my forever home, and I'm so glad you found us and we found you as well.
And Caterpants says, hey, She Heals I Tank, this is the tweet of the week for no apparent reason.
I'm so glad you read that one.
On like a slow week, that would have got it.
Yeah,
but we had some good ones this week.
You would have won with that one. @KK McLeod tweeted a meme. I don't know if he made this, but it was definitely a response to last week's episode. He did say, I don't draw well, so I think it is it. And it says, Phase 1, collect crystals. Phase 2, I don't know. Phase 3, calamity. With some images of the sylphs and
Is that in regards to me nailing that lore question?
Yes, so in understanding as to where the beast tribes learned how to summon primals and what causes the calamity.
Primal Summoning 101, baby. VoxNet7 says, at Shields, I tank. So Pete, since you've got inside info having nailed the Garuda/Ifrit dance battle extravaganza, want to tell us what the next new jobs are going to be? Well, I've always been pulling for Chemist, even though I've never played a Final Fantasy game with Chemist in it. Sounds cool to me. And he went on to say, or before that, says, Jesus Christ, does look like Pete nailed this one.
You read it out of order, so
nail a lot of things.
Don't do it. Don't do that. So
I also got something right by saying FanFest would be in San Diego.
I thought that as well. At Hyperpixie Games says, heading back into Eorzea for the first time in forever for some Final Fantasy 14 with She Heals I Tank. Come watch us live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern over at blah, 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 blah. She and I actually played Final Fantasy 14 last night. It was the first time in a long time she and I played it together, and we had a ton of fun, and then her power went out because there was a tornado watch. But it was still good times, and Thursdays are fun nights with her and me.
And this could also be for another community roundup, actually. Go check out twitch.tv/Rathoc, WRATHOC, does creator, what is it, like DIY streams. I forget what they call it. Maker streams. But he passed on the party over to at She Heals I Tank for some Final Fantasy 14. Have a fantastic Friday. He's always so kind enough to rate us.
He's a sweetheart. And then finally at Soul Finnis says, quote of the show, trash, recognize trash. Vegan Pete, I laughed my ass off.
Damn right. I know what trash looks like.
All right, Pete, do you have anything else you want to add?
Only that I wish we could have gone longer.
I'm tired.
Gotta get that endurance back up.
This is over a 2-hour episode. This is a long episode.
Yeah, we were like 10 minutes late.
No, we weren't. So, on that note, that's going to be it for this episode. As always, we've enjoyed hanging out with all of you live here on Twitch, so thank you so much for spending your time with us. Be sure to hit that follow button so you will know the next time we will be going live. And a great big thank you to everyone listening to the podcast through iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify, and the app that came out yesterday that I haven't heard about yet. You really are the reason we keep making episodes. But remember, wherever you do listen, it would mean a shit ton to us if you gave our little shit podcast a rating or a review, or more importantly, tell a friend to check us out. Here with Vegan Pete, I am Avi Ale, and we will talk to you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.